Hey, Evie!
Whoa, 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 Tally, what the hell do you think you're doing?
Oh, I was just going to ask if you wanted to do some dungeons or arena or something before the Shadowlands alpha hits and everything gets crazy. What's the matter?
You're standing far too close. You know we're supposed to be social distancing because of the blood plague.
I don't think it's called the blood plague, actually, Evitel.
Well, whatever. Come on, I'm doing my part by hanging out here in the Exodar, which hasn't had a real-life player in it since 2010. You need to do your bit to flatten that blood plague curve.
It's not the blood plague. And also, I don't want to. It's so lonely and sad in my isolation zone. I can't do it anymore. And also, I really need a haircut.
Tally!
Okay, fine.
Oh, we missed you, boss.
Get away from me.
Knowledge is power.
Hello, Internet. Taliesin here, and welcome to another episode of the Weekly Reset, Taliesin and Evitel's Wondrous Wisdom Show. And look, you may think that it's been a super quiet week this week, with not much to talk about. I mean, there was the usual Blizzard April Fool's patch notes from patch 8.8.8, which promised the new High Dwarves allied race. And in amongst the expected pretend class changes featured my favourite line maybe ever in any of these things: Shaman, no adjustments needed. Which, you know, cynic though I am, in these strange times certainly succeeded in bringing a smile to this weary face. And indeed, to everyone. What the fuck, Blizz, with Shamans? If you want the Elemental Shaman to be the least played class since Mop, then just take it out of the game altogether. There's so much favouritism you all have for enhancement that anyone like me who's played an Elemental Shaman since BC gets zero perks at all. And I know that I'm not the only one that feels this way. Nice touch though, giving Demon Hunters a ranged class. Seems to me like you found a way to wipe Ellie Shamans out for good. Thanks for nothing. And yeah, I'm salty AF again. I'm certain I'm not the only one who feels this way. April Fools. There was brief excitement as Burning Crusade Classic was all but confirmed by a Blizzard questionnaire that went out asking players, hey, you know when we make Burning Crusade Classic, if we make it, anyway, how should we do it? If we do it, but like seriously, who even knows at this point, not us. Which some people pretended to act surprised about, as if Burning Crusade Classic hadn't been rubber stamped the minute servers melted and WoW subs doubled on the launch of Original Classic. Just for the record though, clearly Classic BC servers should be separate with the option of transferring your OG Classic characters over. That's obviously how it should work, that's obvious. There were the new Jaina and Sylvanas toys on the merch store. People like their faces. Excellent. There was the continued joy of the 100% XP boost in current WoW, which is awesome, super fun, because of course it is. Leveling quickly is really fun. Who knew? The only problem now is that I might run out of alts that I want to level at all before the new system is added in Shadowlands, which I think is like the definition of a first world problem. But so there has been news, but not loads. So you might be wondering why we bothered to make this episode at all. But that's just you being wrong again, just like you were a minute ago when you disagreed with me about how Burning Crusade Classic should work. Because actually, there is massive news this episode. The Shadowlands Alpha is coming this week. This is finally the week that the chosen ones get to dive feet first into what exists of the new expansion, while the rest of us get to enjoy the content in the way it's supposed to be enjoyed. Data mine models and broadcast text. And I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, but Taliesin, how can you be so certain that it's now? How can you be so confident that the wait is finally over and the alpha is here? Well, it's a good question, but the answer is pretty simple and undeniable, and I will explain all right after the reason you're all really here. Long Boy Watch, my continuing mission to earn the 5 million gold that I need to buy the Long Boy. The day on which I finally do will see poor little Taliesin the Fire Mage Bank Alt finally be allowed to leave Ironforge and actually complete some current content. That would be nice. And you might remember that last episode our grand total stood at 3,489,000 gold, and look, before I show you today's figure, I must warn you, it's not all that much better, okay? We're currently at 3,555,000, and there's a couple of reasons for that. Like, I don't know if you heard, but there's a 100% XP boost on at the moment, and that's taken up a fair old whack of my time. But also, my usual gold-making routine of farming zin'anthid and making greater flasks has suffered in recent weeks due to there being a scarcity of zin'anthid. Like, it now takes twice as long to farm this herb in Nazjatar as it used to, and at the same time, I'm seeing lots more multi-boxers flying around the area, vacuuming up what few precious herbs I do come across. And I think that goes beyond mere correlation into causality, you know? So my tactic to combat this increased new competition is to just work twice as hard. No, only joking. I set up the Tally Cartel, a WoW community for people who want to herb in Nazjatar and also murder any multi-boxing herbalists that we see. Yeah, that's right, multi-boxers. We have nothing against you at all, but I've got a long boy to farm up, and you are cornering the economy, so you and your 8 identical druid twins are going down. We're getting EVE Online on this shit, okay? Your time has come. This island belongs to the Tally Cartel now, yeah, anyway, that's how I'm dealing with it. And actually, I have to say that since forming the cartel and killing a few multi-boxers, there are more herbs around in Nazjatar again, you know, just saying. And now that's out of the way, I can answer the other question, the important question. How do I know that the Shadowlands Alpha is coming this week? Well, there's a small fact that we are now into the time frame that I, Taliesin, predicted the Alpha would launch in months ago. I don't know if you've heard, but me being right is canon.
So Steve, are you saying that Taliesin was right all along?
That's what I heard too. Taliesin was right.
Are you saying that's canon?
Well,
Could you repeat that again? I don't think he heard it.
Thanks, Steve.
So there's that. There's the fact that there have been suspicious updates happening on servers that I don't really understand, but that other people like Wowhead do, and they seem to think it's very significant. But that's not the real reason. The real reason is that in this video, I am going to force Blizzard's hand. In this video, I am going to look forward to the alpha and speculate as to what might be in it. And therefore, once this episode goes live, I'm hoping Saturday, but you know, Blizzard will then have no choice but to release the alpha as soon as they possibly can, whether it be ready or not, so as to make this video irrelevant as quickly as possible. Because the minute someone at Blizzard sees me talking about what might be in the alpha, they are contractually obligated to release the actual alpha without further delay, specifically to make me look as stupid as possible. This has happened numerous times before with other videos speculating on other topics. It's clearly an official Blizzard policy at this point, and so usually I'd be quite reticent to even waste my time making a video like this. But you know what? It's been a tough couple of weeks. We all deserve a treat. I'm going to take this one for the team, and I'm going to ask, when will Alpha launch, and what will be in it? There. It's done. So now at least we have an answer to the first question, because Alpha is now definitely launching this week, probably Monday. And although that's clearly early enough to kill the views on this video, as many have pointed out, it is still on the late side overall. Certainly if you compare all of this to the BFA Alpha, something that might not be particularly helpful to do, but that we're going to be doing quite a lot of in this segment anyway. Now obviously right now there are some pretty mitigating, understandable circumstances, in that nearly all Blizzard employees are currently working from home. A true Blizz is providing their newly homebound workers with care packages of food and cleaning essentials, as well as that precious TP delivered to their houses, which, you know, fair play, is actually pretty cool of them. And by all accounts, their IT department is working absolute wonders, with 2,400 people working from home and their network pushing over 5 gigabytes of data a second to keep up, which is also, fair play, pretty cool. But I've had numerous sources at the company tell me now that even with these Herculean efforts, it has resulted in a slight delay to the planned rollout of the alpha. A delay which is now, of course, totally over because I'm making this video. You're welcome. And since the alpha is definitely coming this week, what can we expect from it once it gets here? Well, absolute WoW YouTuber meltdown, obviously. Bugs? Probably. Tons and tons of bugs, and incomplete environments, and probably lots of falling through floors too. Oh, I love the falling through floors. But to once again unhelpfully compare to the first sightings of the BFA Alpha, what did we get then? For a start, we got a full 2 weeks of data mineable builds before any public alpha invites went out, and in that initial data mining, we got an eyeful of Sethrak, and dinosaurs, and beautiful round frog boys, and Anduin's 3 different noses. This time around, of course, Blizzard have been a lot more sneaky with all of this, and just like 8.25 and 8.3 before it, all of the alpha clients that we've had so far have been encrypted beyond even the finest minds at Wowhead's code-breaking department, which suggests that when the Shadowlands Alpha does appear in probably like a couple of minutes, it seems likely that we'll be straight into the playable version. And this is perhaps where we should start to temper our expectations a little, because you might be itching to see all the new zones and the story, to visit Maldraxxus because you're a teenage edgelord, or Ardenweald because you're whatever the exact opposite of a teenage edgelord is. You might want to experience the new dungeons, or get a first impression of the Covenant system, or even Torghast, the Tower of the Damned, you know, to see, seriously, how is that going to work? But again, if the opening week of the BFA Alpha is anything to go by, that won't be the case. Because in the first week of BFA Alpha, players could run around very broken and limited versions of Drustvar and Nazmir, with barely any quests available, but a whole lot of jank. There was some interesting serious fun to be had by using Farsight to get to other parts of the map, but of course that might not be possible with Shadowlands zones, since it certainly seems from the concept that they are all separate, non-connected entities. By the way, that's another thing that I'm really keen on seeing, the space in between these zones. I want to see Shadowlands space, okay? So it's probably a fair shout on Monday to expect the playable bit of Bastion from the BlizzCon demo, and maybe a glimpse of another zone? But probably, alas, not the new capital and presumed central hub, Oribos. The original BFA Alpha didn't give us a look at Boralis or Dazara lore, and that would be a real shame, because Oribos is another thing that I'm desperate to see. The concept art for the city looks amazing. It's probably where the the Arbiter is based, who is obviously pretty central to the story of the expansion, she being the entity whose power is being bypassed by the shadowy jailer and Sylvanas to send all the incoming souls into the Maw. And you just know that all of the citizens of Oribos, Oribosians, Oribosinites, will be dressed universally in that cool Egyptian mummy meets Iron Man transmog that we got for pre-ordering the expansion. We did also get the Freehold and Ataldazar dungeons in the first BFA Alpha, but those two instances were also part of the BlizzCon 2017 demo, so it might be expecting a little bit much to see similar in the upcoming Shadowlands build. But we can hope. If by chance one does appear on Monday, it's most likely to be one of these 4 leveling dungeons. Personally though, I'm most excited to see the other side. The dungeon which is based around our old pal Bwonsamdi, and actually with that in mind, I guess the dungeon should probably really be called The Other Side, but I can see how that might be confusing. I'm not quite so interested in Theatre of Pain, because to be honest, it sounds like it might just be a recreation of Harry Potter and the Cursed Child. In the BFA Alpha, there were, for a bit at least, parts of the Horde and Alliance intro scenarios before they were taken down, so maybe, just maybe, we'll get to see part of the very opening of the expansion, which means we would get to see the Maw. And that's pretty exciting. And believe it or not, there were also some embryonic class changes in that very first BFA build too, so we might even have something for the class theory crafters and number crunchers to get their teeth into, although obviously any actual numbers should be taken with a pinch of salt the size of Belgium at this stage. And speaking of numbers, we got the stat squish in the first BFA Alpha too, so maybe we should expect our first look at the level squish in this week's Shadowlands build? Might we even get a look at the new leveling system, or even Exile's Reach, the new starting island? And what about all those new customization options for our characters? Will we get a look at those? And of course, what's playable in a build certainly isn't all that's there, and I for one will be glued to Wowhead even more than usual to see what they pull from the data. In the first week of BFA Alpha, we got mounts, we got maps, and data-mined broadcast text that essentially gave us the story beats of the upcoming battle for Lordaeron, and the corresponding Shadowlands content would give us an insight into how exactly we get into the Shadowlands. What I personally think will be a face-off with Sylvanas atop of Icecrown that ends in her killing us and our souls going to the Maw. And when I say think, obviously I basically just mean hope, because that would just be really cool, you know. And talking about data mine broadcast text, it's probably a good time to remind you of our spoiler system. Bluebot for something that most people probably know anyway, but isn't in the game yet, and Redbot for proper bona fide spoilers, a system that we will be utilizing a lot throughout this alpha and beta process. Don't worry, you are safe with us. Basically, this week's build will be exciting because seeing a new expansion is always exciting, but it's probably not going to be very insightful, and we need to be careful not to read too much into it. As you can see, this video will be totally out of date and useless as soon as the Shadowlands Alpha actually hits, which is how I know that Blizz will definitely be releasing it this week. thanks to me. It's fine, you don't have to thank me, but if you want to thank me, that's absolutely fine, that's okay. Ooh, there is just one thing that I will definitely be doing though. If I'm ever lucky enough to get into that alpha, the first thing I'm going to do is log into a mage and I will be porting straight to Uther's tomb. You know, just to check. I've moved the camera around for this last bit today.
Oh wow, because I was looking over there.
Yeah, I know, that's where the camera usually is, to get at a cool angle so you can see like the light box and stuff, but no, we've even covered up the light box with Jaina's statue, with her soon to be out of date face. Now that we've got the new Jaina little toy coming, with a much better face, everyone agrees.
Do we all agree?
That's what the internet agrees.
Sounds about right.
But the reason I changed the camera angle here today was, you know, so you could get a good look at some of the paintings and pictures and stuff, which will soon be replaced with our new art competition winners, which we are announcing
now.
Today.
Right now.
We thought we'd better do it now before the alpha definitely comes out next week and there's loads of content. So, you know, we thought this would be a good way to kind of finish off the episode today.
Yeah, and there's some amazing entries. Like, guys, you completely blew us away, and we had some really, really, really hard decisions to make.
So, okay, hardest decision of all was, like, how many winners to have, because we promised the winner of this competition, the T&E Art Competition 2020, $150, which already was an increase of $50 on the prizes we gave to these amazing artists. And we thought, you know what, it's worth it.
Yeah.
Because the art that we get is incredible. It's really, really good. And if we need more than one winner, well, so be it. And the entries came in, and we were just looking through them now, trying to find winners. And it was so hard, and we argued so much, and we might get divorced, and we had to settle it in the end with like an arm wrestle.
Yeah.
Which you
Is
won,
that what happened?
obviously.
Yes,
yeah.
I did win. I did win. I remember now.
In the end, we didn't choose one winner. In the end, we didn't choose two winners.
Yeah.
We didn't choose three winners. We didn't choose four winners. And to be honest, we could have chosen a whole lot more than five, but we chose 5 winners.
We had to stop somewhere, basically.
Yeah, because otherwise we couldn't afford to eat.
Yeah.
So, winner number 1, and this is in no particular order, has to be said. That's very important.
Yes.
Miles Ajala. I took a chance with that name.
Whoa.
I took a chance with it.
I think you did it.
To be honest, Miles, if you hadn't won, it would have been so that we didn't have to pronounce your name. With this glorious picture of N'Zoth, and you might be looking at that and just thinking, well, that's just a glorious picture of N'Zoth.
It is. It definitely is.
And it is, but look in the bottom corner there.
Oh,
there's our. That is Mavanwi and Evitel.
Oh.
Like, you know, I like how Mavanwi's like, N'Zoth. We just really like that one. It was spectacular.
Yeah, it's amazing.
And that was a really early one that we got in, and we was like, ooh, it's going to be good this year. It's going to be
Yeah.
really, really good. So, thank you, Miles. A painting so good it woke up our baby. So now, hello. Winner number 2 is Clow.
Ooh.
Now, this one was really unusual. Clow has designed like a 3D mesh for our own battle pet, Mr. Redbot.
Yes, and if you watch the stream, which I'm sure you do, you will know Mr. Redbot.
Well, you will know new Mr. Redbot, because as if I'm not going to take that artwork and use it for our Redbot during all the Shadowlands alpha stuff. Yeah. It's going to be amazing. But I also like the poster form that was put in as well.
Oh,
and we
it's brilliant.
Yeah, we just kept coming back to it, you know?
Yeah.
And because like we went past it maybe at first and we were like, oh, that was cool. And then, you know, but obviously we want one with like us looking awesome or something like that.
Yeah.
But we just kept coming back to this, and I was like, there's no way we couldn't have had it win.
It's so cool, and like the poster look is brilliant, and yeah, we love it.
Okay, winner number 3, a familiar face.
A very familiar face.
And Eric Lunn with this poster for Shadowlands, which, if I'm perfectly honest, we tried desperately not to make a win. Like, we were like, yeah, okay, but it's kind of like the same style as the one that he won with in our last competition.
Exactly.
And he did win in our last competition as with the amazing with the amazing BFA one that's just out of shot here, which was done like a Star Wars poster. And we were like, okay, Eric, fair play, mate. Fine. It's really good, but, you know, you won last time. And again, we just kept coming back to it, didn't we?
Yeah, yeah.
And do you know what it is? It's the Night Fae person on the left-hand side.
Really? Because for me, it's the Swolkin.
No way. Oh, well, there you are. He got us in a pincer movement.
Yeah.
Winner number 3 is Bextron.
Hey!
Who, full disclosure, we have met in real life.
Yes.
And who is a lovely person.
Yes.
But any claims of nepotism will be completely thrown out the window when you feast your eyes on this beautiful work.
I mean, look at that. That's basically Napoleon crossing the Alps.
Yeah, except it's not. It's Taliesin and
us.
Evitel and Anirin crossing an Alp. on a hippo, innit?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so, I mean, feast your eyes on this.
It's glorious, and the way it's put together is like, as an art historian.
Yeah, the composition is really spot on.
And a rainbow Khadgar at the top, just to finish it off. And like, do you know what? Kind of like picking the 5th one actually made us sad. Like, this whole process should have been joyous and exciting, and it was. But my overriding emotion is sadness because we weren't able to kind of give prizes to everyone that we wanted. And there were some awesome ones, like some really simple ones of Maurice, which were just like stunning.
So
there
many
was
Maurice
a
pictures.
really vibrant one with us and the long boy, and there was really busy ones with like loads of different things going on, which we really loved. There was some really cool like CGI janky ones.
Oh my gosh, there's genuinely some really amazing ones, and so yeah, we'll put them up and we'll show you guys.
Yeah,
and
I'm so sorry, and please, if you didn't win, it's more than likely that you easily could have if we'd picked the winners on like a different day and we'd been in a slightly different mood. Like it really is. And like, so thank you to everyone. They've made us incredibly happy.
Yeah,
thank
and
you.
you guys are really talented. I mean, I expect nothing less from this community, but you guys are brilliant.
So the final winner is Brenda Cody.
Oh,
yay! Look at it. It's just so. My dad liked this one.
So beautiful. Yeah, your dad did.
That was kind of the swinger.
I love it. It's so magical and amazing, and it's the 3 of us.
I know, it feels a bit like, I don't know, I feel like a bit like a billionaire commissioning someone to paint me like a really indulgent portrait or something.
You didn't commission it,
No,
and
you're right,
Brenda just made this beautiful thing of us. I get what you mean. I prefer the goofy ones, but this is in some ways. But this is like such a beautiful, like, I just love it.
I know. That's our 5 winners. I hope you enjoyed that. We certainly did. You'll be seeing a lot more of those pictures when we get them printed up and put on the walls and things. I think we got a good mix there as well.
I think we did.
Of various different things and various different styles and like features and what have you. So yeah, pretty pleased with that. I am going to put together all the other ones to show you at the end of this episode because I can't bear for you not to see them right away. Thank you so much. And we will be back next week with Shadowlands Alpha.
Or will we?
Definitely right about that.
Are
100%. You know it. Of course I am. When have I ever let you down? But thanks for joining us today. If you like this episode, don't thank us. Thank our patrons who give their actual real-life money to make all our videos happen. And especially at the moment, guys, we just wouldn't be able to make any videos if it wasn't for you guys. So thank you very much. There'll be a whole lot less Taliesin and Evitel. If you didn't like it, downvote the shit out of it. Remember, my name is Alonzo, Clow, Bextron, and Brenda. No, my name is Taliesin from me.
And me, Evitel.
And a Nyrin as well. Good boy. Cheerio. Thank you.